the red clay of Georgia to the wine country of Northern California, the drivers in the Speed GT Championship face a tough grind on the undulating and ever-challenging Infineon Raceway. Hello everyone, I'm Lee Diffie along with Johnny O'Connell, and welcome to round 6 of the Speed GT Championship here at Infineon Raceway. Well, this race marks the beginning of the second half of the 2003 season, and so far we've seen 3 different winners, and Johnny, 3 very different cars: Corvette, BMW, Porsche. What do you see being the best combination today?
You know, as you look behind us at this great racetrack, very windy, it's definitely going to play to the strong suit of the BMW. They got amazing handling. Conversely, it's going to work against the Audis. You know, they're heavier cars, very good in a straight line, but with all these corners, it's going to be difficult, long day for them. Phil McClure in the Corvette, big surprise, he should be strong today.
Time now to take a look at the 2003 championship points. And as you can see, Randy Post has a healthy 11-point lead, but is that in danger today? We will find out. Phil McClure, Hans Stuck and Mike Fitzgerald, 2 3R racing cars in that top 5. Let's hear more from them now.
Do quite a bit of talking, going over the data. You know, with particular spots in the track, we do some lead follow stuff too, and talk amongst ourselves there. And if we can, it helps to just have more sets of eyes on different perspectives of what's going on out there.
We're running up in the front with a Porsche, and we're running up in the front with a Corvette, and it's the same team doing both cars, and it's pretty obvious the reason for those results.
And I think it just speaks well to the kind of expertise that we've got under this tent, and also certainly back in the shop in Denver at 3R Automotive.
Well, team oddities aside, it looks like Phil McClure has gotten the best of his 3R teammates. 16 one-thousandths of a second over Mike Fitzgerald. Phil, looks like you got this vet back on track.
Yeah, 3R guys have really been working hard. Every test session we had throughout the week, we continue to make improvements, and they just put a great car under me, and hopefully it stays that way throughout the race.
I know Phil said earlier he's anxious to prove that this vet doesn't just have the muscle, it's got the handling too, and he's shown it here with qualifying outside second row, or outside the front row. This was the scene of his first podium finish. Lee?
The second half of the season begins right now. The real race for the title begins right now. After the break, we'll show you the grid and go racing. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by Toyo Tires, known for performance, tires that fit you. And by BMW. Visit your local BMW centre for a test drive. BMW, the ultimate driving machine. Welcome back to Infineon Raceway. Time to take you through our onboard cameras today. And we ride with Boris Said, just one of the 4 drivers in PTG BMW. A very slick operation, and Boris, this is one of his home races. Of course, the Laguna Seca race will be another one. He's looking for a strong result today. We also take you on board with Randy Popes, the championship leader. And today is the first time this year that he has not sat on the front row. He has an extra challenge today. And Hans Stuck, the legend himself, a new helmet he is running today for the first time, one of the new Schubert helmets, and we have communication with Hans. We may talk to him throughout the race. Time now to take a look at the RB starting grid, and for the 3rd time this year, Team PTG BMW driver Bill Auberlen will start from the pole position alongside the Corvette of Phil McClure, and that's Phil's best start since he was on pole at Sebring a long time ago, or what seems to be such a long time ago. Back to row 2. And starting from position 3, our most recent race winner, Mike Fitzgerald. And incidentally, that's his best grid spot in 2003, and Hans Stuck will be very much there throughout this one. Randy Popes, as I said, it's unusual to see Randy off the front row this year, and Boris Said starts alongside. Back to the 4th row. Justin Marks, a local racer, and a big weekend for the young Californian. And we welcome back John Young in the Saleen SR. It's great to have John back after that big crash at Lime Rock, and he missed the Atlanta race. Michael Gallardi, the reigning champion, he starts from row 5, and Mike Culver is right there with him. Johnny O'Connell, this is, as we said at the top of the show, it's a very unforgiving track. It's tough. You're racing this weekend in the ALMS race, so you know exactly what it's like. Tell us some more about this place.
Well, Sears Point is very special in that it really places an emphasis on handling. not only that, you know, track familiarity is very important, and a guy like Bill, who's been here a lot, is going to have a good advantage. But, you know, as we look through the field, we see, you know, both McClure and Fitzgerald, very impressive performance by that team, getting both of those cars to the front.
We're working our way towards the start of round 6 of the SCCA Pro Racing Speed World Challenge, the Speed GT Championship. Time board is up. Watch for the green at the back. And we are set to go racing here at Infineon Raceway. Can McClure take the fight to Bill Auberlen? Will Randy Popes be able to get up there and take his first win of the year? Set for the lights to go. We are racing Speed GT style, and look at the Audi's pounce. Popes goes one way, then the other. Oh! Big contact there with Phil McClure as Randy launched off the line.
You expect that type of launch from the Audi, but, you know, had he gone left there, he might have been able to get in front of that BMW. But beautiful start by Randy. It looks like Young's got a little bit of a problem there.
As we ride now with Boris Said climbing the hill for the first time, now into 3 and 3A as they crest the highest point of this circuit.
You know, this is just beautiful, and it gives you a real idea as to what the elevation change is like at Sears Point. But also, you know, you go through a lot of these corners here, and they're blind on the exit. So that's where when I spoke about track familiarity, as you go into the carousel right here, you have no idea what's on the other side of that hill. Boom, you get down to this long corner. Whoa, I don't know who that is. It looks like Randy or one of the others running very wide there. Again, he must have gotten a brilliant start. But, you know, one thing we always got to remember, when these guys start a race, the tires are cold, their tire pressures aren't up, so this first lap, second lap also is often very exciting because these guys are going to be sliding around a lot.
Justin Marks there just ahead of Michael Gallardi on the inside. Look at this good hard racing from the 22. Mike Fitzgerald pushing as hard as he can. Meanwhile, up front, it's Auberlen. Popes is up there. Such an exciting start as Randy Popes launched off the line. He sits second at the moment.
You know, when we look at Fitzgerald, we see a guy who had such a great qualifying, but his start, he was sleeping a little bit. And I think what that might have been is they gave them a long run, as we see McClure, on the inside.
Gotcha. Phil McClure puts the Corvette into second ahead of Randy Popes.
Boy, you know what? That Audi is very strong out of the hole. But passing in this part of the racetrack is going to be very difficult for Randy. Phil on that inside line has got a definite advantage.
We ride now with Randy Popes as he crests the hill again, and he knows with this heavier car they have a real tough fight on their hands here at Infineon Raceway. Brian Tell.
Well, you talk about the weight of that Audi, and don't forget, guys, they've got more horsepower, so they burn more fuel. They've got to start with more fuel at the beginning of the race. That makes them even heavier. Randy says if he's going to make hay, he's got to do it early on before the tires get hot and they get abused by that extra weight. He's got to get out there. Some 600 pounds heavier, but he runs the same size brakes as the BMW. He's got to make hay early if he wants to keep that Audi out in front.
Let's take a look, another look at the start. Johnny, talk us through.
Well, as you see, both Audis immediately go into the middle lane. Randy there, see, if he had stayed on the left side of Auberlen, he might have been able to make it there. But there's that moment of indecision, getting close to Phil McClure there. I don't think there was contact, but it's pretty darn close. And, you know, again, that four-wheel drive, man, on the starts, these Audis are just so impressive to watch.
Hans Stuck now pushes ahead of Randy Popes. We ride now with Randy, and he has been forced back from second to fourth position. And he's got Justin Marks right on him as well. So the BMWs have pushed strong. But we've got the 3R Racing Corvette of Phil McClure sitting in second. We ride with the Audi of Popes.
You know, and one cool thing to watch, noting that Justin Marks is up there in the top 5. Here's a kid who's really stepped it up this year. We go back to Sebring when PGG first arrived with all their cars. Justin is improving every round, and I think that's something that everyone on PGG were looking for and expecting.
Boris Said tucked in behind Justin Marks. He brings a new sponsor to the series as well. We'll talk more about that as this race progresses. Further back, though, Michael Gallardi, Mike Fitzgerald, they're going hard at it. And throughout this season, it was Phil McClure who got back-to-back wins in rounds 1 and 2. Then it was Bill Auberlen. And in round 5, last time out at Road Atlanta, it was Mike Fitzgerald. Can he go back-to-back? Well, it's looking like it's a tough task today as we go back up front to race leader Bill Auberlen, who has quite a comfortable lead at the moment.
Well, you know, he had a very strong qualifying run there, Lee. You know, any time you qualify, you've almost got a second on the field. You're sleeping pretty well the night before the race. you know, everyone on PTG right now, the group that is preparing Bill's car, you know, they've got that confidence. They feel ripped off because remember, if you go back to Road Atlanta, you know, Bill was in a position to win that when he got a puncture. So, you know, this race to them is extremely important.
We ride with Hans Stuck. Let's have a listen. And he gets him, slips up the inside. Great move, Hans Stuck.
You know, and that's an area where you as a competitor, you got to be watching that inside. I mean, Hans he knew that McClure was going to go for that wide setup to get a good, clean shot down the S's. But beautiful pass, you know, textbook by one of the masters in the game, Hans Stuck. And you know what? I've seen Hans drive around this racetrack a lot. He knows Sears Point, and you know, I think every time he shows up here, he's got a big smile on his face.
Team PTG BMW have had a lot of success, not necessarily in Speed World Challenge, but in other racing series, and can that success continue today? Great scrap for the minor placings here, though. Boris Sed's got himself ahead of his teammate Justin Marks. Now he tries to work on Randy Popes.
And, you know, and we spoke about, Lee, the weight of that Audi. You know, that affects you in the corners, but, man, it's huge under braking. So when we get to those areas, like going into turn 7 or turn 11, that's where you're going to see these BMWs really trying to pounce on Randy. And if Randy's smart, he's going to take an inside line and try to defend that move.
Here in California, Boris is all pumped up to get his season's best result. So far, that's a second. That was at Lime Rock Park. He wants to do well here on one of his 2 home races of the year. Mike Fitzgerald in the 3R Racing Porsche. He now starts to catch up on the back of the 2 PTG cars. So don't discount the Porsche driver. You know, and he was very fast. Again, he was behind Galati, as you see Galati running wide there and really using up all the racetrack. We got a spin there. Whoa. Around goes, is that Tim Weens, the 33. Weens is gone, but regroups, gathers, stays out of harm's way, and gets the 3R Racing machine back on track. So a lucky escape there for Tim Weens, but everything's okay. Time for a short break. We'll leave you from Infineon, but we will be back. Stay up to date with everything that's going on in the Winston Cup with Inside Winston Cup each and every Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, right here on your home of motorsport Speed Channel. Welcome back to the Speed GT Championship. We ride with Randy Popes, and unfortunately, that day is getting so tough for Randy. He's lost yet another position. Mike Fitzgerald, you can see up the road, up ahead in the 3R Racing Porsche. Now on lap 6 here at Infineon Raceway, and the championship points leader may have a tough task holding on to that today. Yeah, you know what, and I think Randy's pretty aware of what he's got to do. He's got to keep his car running, stay out of trouble, hope that these guys that are in front of him, who I think they expected were going to have a better race than them, you know, just because of the weight issue, you know, there's a long way to go. They could have some sort of problem. So, you know, Randy, the one thing he's shown a lot this year is a ton of maturity, getting his car to the finish in difficult situations. I think he knows that. He's in the same situation today, and it's one of those deals. You hold on, you defend yourself, but not to the point where you might have contact. Brian.
I'm here with Kevin Wheeler, the crew chief for Randy Popes. Kevin, looked like he was shot off of an aircraft carrier at the start, but he's going the wrong direction.
Yeah, we were hoping to get in front of the guys on the first lap so we could at least get a point for leading a lap. But he got boxed in by McClure and Oberlin, and you can see he played a little ping pong out there. But right now we're just struggling. He's given it all we got. The front tires are just overheated right now, and we're just hoping to, you know, stay in there. Maybe in the end we can be in a top 5 finish.
If you get a yellow, will the tires come back after they cool down?
If we get a yellow and we get a chance to cool them off, we'll get about another 5-lap run where the car will be quick. So maybe towards the end of the race, we can get something to come back.
5 laps at a time, guys. That's not the way to win around Infineon.
No, it's not. Back up front, and Bill Oberlin has a 6.2-second margin over Hans Stuck and Boris Said. It's the 3 PTG cars in the top 3. Justin Marks, the 4th car, sits back in 5th position, 4th PTG car, I should say. Phil McClure in the Corvette is 4th. Mike Fitzgerald is back in 6th, and Popes and Galati, the 2 Audi factory drivers, there 7th and 8th. David Farmer 9th, and Anderson rounds out the top 10. That's how they sit at the moment, but it's pretty cruisy times for Oberlin at the moment.
You know, again, he's doing a super job. You look at the front of this grid right now, all BMWs, you kind of, you know, predicted that. Phil's doing a great job hanging on with that Corvette. But one guy that I think we're going to keep seeing come through the field is Fitzgerald. Again, he had a solid qualifying, you know, in 3rd position and a lousy start. And when you have a lousy start like that, man, you are fired up. You want those positions back. He's got Justin Marks right in front of him now. And, you know, I think it's just going to be a couple laps where Fitzgerald's experience is going to take advantage of Justin's, you know, learning experience.
Does that drive you crazy, Johnny? Like Mike Fitzgerald is his best grid position of the year. He's won the most recent round of the Speed GT Championship, and he's gone backwards off the line. He's like, oh, what? Come on.
You know, it does. But again, you know, Mike's so experienced and he's been playing this game a long time. So I think he's wise enough to know, okay, wait, there's a lot of things that can happen. I can get a full course caution, all that kind of stuff. But right now, more importantly to him is he knows he's got a great hot rod. That Porsche is getting around here real quick. He's showing, you know, right now second quick to Oberlin as far as best lap. So that Porsche is working real well for him. And you know, if he's patient, he's going to be able to gain some more positions. And still, you know, again, a long way to go. He can be in position to win.
Let's hear more from Brian Till.
Tom Milner, who's the principal here at PTG. Another Bill Oberlin driving clinic, but we've heard about tires on this racetrack. Any concerns about tires and the pace Bill's running?
Well, not this morning. It's relatively cool. I think we are fine with the tires. You know, our cars are the lightest cars, so it reminds me very much of 1996 when BMW returned to racing and we came to Sears Point after a year and a half of frustration, and we finished 1, 2, 3 here. So the race is certainly not over with, but we're very happy.
Tom Milner smiling, something you don't see a lot around the racetrack, guys, but when the BMWs are running this good, this is what you get.
We give a lot of credit to Tom Milner for the organization that he runs, but Brian Krem and Larry Hahn, they also do a wonderful job of keeping the troops in line at PTG BMW and doing some incredible work on these wonderful machines. Young Justin Marks, he comes from Chico, California, not too far up the road from Infineon Raceway. His new sponsor, Future Electronics, they're hoping for a good result from the young Californian this weekend, but he's got the very experienced and race-winning Mike Fitzgerald right on his tail. Stay with us. We'll be back after this brief break. You're watching round 6 of the Speed GT Championship from Infineon Raceway here in California, just north of San Francisco. And a great scrap here for minor positions. It's the battle for 5th between Justin Marks in the BMW versus Mike Fitzgerald in the Porsche. Youth versus experience, BMW versus Porsche. Who's going to win out, John?
Well, you know, Justin is doing a beautiful job. I've been watching him. His lap times are really consistent, and as long as he doesn't make a mistake and push too hard, he's got that position. He's going to be able to defend it against that Porsche. You know, what Fitzgerald's going to try to be doing is taking a peek, throwing some pressure on him, and see how the kid reacts. But right now, I'm really impressed. He's showing a lot of composure, pushing that car real hard, and I think it's going to be more difficult. You know, Fitzgerald was looking real fast running through the field, but, you know, there's a certain point where you get to guys that are going to be more difficult to pass, and Marks is going to be his first challenge. Getting by him, then McClure. Each step is going to be more difficult than the previous one.
And I'm not sure if we've heaped enough praise on Justin Marks yet this year, because coming into this, he debuted with Team PTG at Mossport, and he's in illustrious company. This is one of his teammates. Hans Stuck is one of his teammates, and so too is Bill Oberlin, the race leader at the moment. And to be surrounded by such big names, well, we've lost someone there. Campbell, car 5. The Corvette is in trouble.
Hard to see what happened there, but almost like there's a little bit of flame under that thing.
Don Campbell, one of the California drivers, and that is just at pit out. And that's not a bad place to stop. Let's have a look at a replay and see if we can figure out what the story is here, Johnny.
Boy, there's an oil line or an engine, or yeah, that's got to be an oil line. So you wonder, you know, what the heck is falling off all over that racetrack going in a very fast corner. But he did a beautiful job getting offline immediately. And I don't think that's going to pose too much of a problem. Great job by starter there, getting that the oil flag out there.
So it's a local yellow only at the moment as they attend to that situation.
Oh, man.
With Don Campbell.
You know what? You see those safety vehicles out there right now like they are. There we go. They, you always worry about that just because they're going so much slower and you don't know who's driving them, number one. They sometimes do things that are a little bit scary, but bring the hose out there and it looks like everything's okay.
They are taking care of the situation. I mentioned at the top of the show that we are in communication with sports car legend Hans Stuck. We'll try and speak with him now and hear what he has to say. Hello, Hans Stuck. This is Lee Diffie in the Speed Announce booth. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Lee. I can read you loud and clear.
Hans, everything is going beautifully at the moment. You're sitting second. You're behind, you're sandwiched in between your teammates. How's everything going?
Yes, now Boris is going to put some pressure on me. And I'm trying to save my tires a little bit for the end. I can't get closer to Bill, you know. I don't know why, but maybe he's just going for it. But I'm feeling fine. Everything is cool. BMW runs super.
We hear, Hans, that a safety car may be coming onto the course, so you may get a little bit of a rest shortly.
Wow, that would be nice, you know. Then I can close up to Bill, hopefully.
Be a great scrap between the three of you, Bill and Boris.
Oh yes, it's good to have Boris behind me and not Bill. Because with Boris, you know. Yes. Yes.
Thanks very much, Hans. And it looks like Hans was in communication there with Tom Milner and the team. We are under full course caution here at Infineon Raceway as the officials deal with that cleanup situation. We will bunch the field up and we'll return.
The circle.
A special guest here at Infineon Raceway? Well, no, it's just the Dave Despain bobblehead. Each and every Friday, you can give Dave a call live on Wind Tunnel and discuss the latest issues at hand in the world of motorsport. Can you get one of those bobbleheads? I'm not sure. I think they'll be big in demand. Tom Milner looking on anxiously as we are still under a full course caution here at Infineon Raceway as the field comes around towards turn 11. All bunched up. It's Bill Auberlen, Hans Stuck, Boris Said, Phil McClure, Justin Marks, the top 5. Fitzgerald, Popes, Galati. There's a good team battle there between the Audi drivers, 7th and 8th. They're in unusual positions. David Farmer, can he get his best result of the year? He sits 9th. His best finish this year is 8th. And Anderson rounds out the top 10. Victor Contreras just outside.
You know, a huge break for Billy here is that Mark Kibart in the Porsche 928 is in between him and Hans is hating that. Just, you know, hoping that, you know, he'd like to be right on the back of Billy, so he might be able to get a jump on him. But you can see Hans taking a peek, letting him know he's back there. Billy gets a good start, though.
John Yard has come back into the pits. We go back racing here at Infineon Raceway.
Oh, look at this. We're going to split them.
Oh, we go on board as Hans Stuck and Boris Said splits the Porsche 928. And Stuck holds his second position. Good hard driving.
Dude, oh, but he's running a little bit wide. Look at him come, Boris coming up the inside. This is going to be side-by-side from 3 unless Boris gets out of it.
Boris Said will take that position. Hans Stuck doesn't want to give it up. They run side-by-side, but Said gets the position.
And watch Hans. He's going to take a peek going into 4. I don't know whether it's going to happen. Yeah!
Good braking from Hans Stuck. The teammates going hard at it. And we ride with Phil McClure looking at this.
You know, and the coolest thing is that Boris and Hans are like best of buddies. And so, you know, it just goes back to, man, you don't have any friends when you're out there on the racetrack. It doesn't get any better than that. And you saw very much, we often talk about how racing is a chess game, how that one guy makes the move on the inside, places him in a bad position for the next corner. So some brilliant dicing by Hans and Boris there.
And clean.
Beautiful, yeah.
Nice and clean as they went door handle to door handle. Justin Marks is right in there, right with Phil McClure, and so is Mike Fitzgerald. This will be a great scrap for the minor placings. Can anyone catch Auberlen at the moment? It doesn't look like it. He's bolted.
Well, you know, again, the huge break for Bill was having that lap traffic in between him and Hans. And that already at the start gave him a couple of seconds there. As we see both Audis running together. Again, one guy we really haven't talked about this weekend so far is Galati. Again, he didn't have a great qualifying as we ride on board Randy Popes. But, you know, again, he's so hungry, and it's about time he gets some good luck here.
Michael Galati, as we ride with his teammate, just to, again, emphasize what a frustrating season it's been. 25th, 16th, 10th, 16th, 13th. Let's hope he can get his best result so far today. Justin Marks and Mike Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald may have it, but Justin's got the inside run.
He's going to hold that line, too, going all the way up the hill. Now we're going to see whether Fitzgerald sticks it up there, because I think he really hangs on. He's going to get that position.
Nice work. Justin Marks knows this track very well, but Mike Fitzgerald has years of experience under his belt and gets that 5th position finally after being very patient and just chipping away at the young Californian.
Still a long way to go, lap 15 to 25 though, and there's plenty of time for Justin to get back to him. Again, you know, as Fitzgerald gets up to McClure, it's going to be difficult for him to get by, and in order to get by, he's going to have to place his car offline. That's going to open up the opportunity for Marks to make a move then. So, you know, sometimes you lose a position, but you can't lose sight of the entire fight, because you can get back in there very easily.
The 2-3R Racing teammates now together. Phil McClure and Mike Fitzgerald, and that looked like, was it McClure who put a wheel off? The dust flies. It may have been Fitzgerald, because Justin Marks has been able to gain a little ground. So it's still Orbelin, Stuck second, Said third, McClure, Fitzgerald, Marks. That's the top 6 at the moment. And Randy Post holds off his teammate Michael Galati. Michael would dearly love to get the upper hand for the first time this season.
Oh, my goodness. You know, again, Mike's had every bit of bad luck that you can expect. And you know, conversely, you know, everything possibly is going right for Randy. So you know very much so that, Galati's going to be hoping for the opportunity to get by there.
Mike Fitzgerald sideways. He's lost it. Keeps it back on the track. Whoa, hang on, Mike.
Oh, but man, I got to tell you, initially, what a brilliant save. You have no idea how fast you're going through turn 10 there, and there's some sealant down, and that's probably what caught him out. If you're just a little bit loose, they laid some sealant just past the apex, but man, what a beautiful, beautiful example of car control there, keeping that thing, because that could have been huge.
Well, for a moment there, it was a beautiful four-wheel slide, a four-wheel drift, and it just went a little too far, and he left the asphalt. And as Johnny mentioned, it could have been in all kinds of trouble, but gathered it up nicely. Well done, Mike Fitzgerald. Sadly, though, he has lost about 10 positions.
Yeah, but that was about a $100,000 save right there. You know, I was talking to my crew chief, Dan Binks. He said, you know what? You fall off in 10, you get a new car. So if you don't, oh my gosh, we got something going on in turn 2 here.
68 and the 47 are together, Bob Taylor and Kevin Chambers.
Looks like there might be a little bit of damage. Now, whether or not he cannot gets going again, this could bring out another caution. He's going, opens up the door.
Door looks a little loose there. He'll limp back around to the pits.
Straighten out the mirror. Maybe that was the problem in the first place. His mirror got knocked astray.
From Bob Taylor to Bill Orbelin, and Orbelin is enjoying a 4.5 second lead. Meanwhile, David Farmer is right there with the Audis. Michael Galati first in line. Randy Post with the higher position. He sits 9th, the 2 Audis 7th and 8th. This is a great scrap. Further back, a couple of positions back, is Michael Culver, who sits in 11th. Victor Contreras is in there as well.
You know, Farmer, I spoke to him this weekend, is a little bit frustrated because, you know, in the past he's been the lead Corvette guy. He's run at the front. He's won races here, and you know, he's not having the season that he'd like to. You know, for this race, they've got a new sponsor, Polk Audio, so they'd certainly want to show well. And, you know, to get by that factory Audi team, that's looking real good for him.
Let's give a note to Mark Anderson, too, from Anaheim here in California. He's running in that Porsche, the white Porsche, right behind the yellow Corvette of David Farmer. He's had a good, strong run, and he's been maintaining his top 10 position for a good while now.
You know, and as you see this Audi, it's almost like a blockade going on here because you've got a bunch of cars lining up behind him, but it demonstrates how difficult it is often to get by on an Infineon raceway.
You look at Michael Galati, the reigning champion, the 5-time Speed World Challenge champion, chasing Randy Post. We ride with Randy at the moment. From Post to Said. Hans Stuck a little loose coming out of the carousel. This long uphill run towards the tight right-hander, turn 7. And the 2 teammates still going hard at it. And Hans Stuck has been under pressure for a long time. Boris did a wonderful job to catch him earlier before we went to that full course caution. And you get the feeling this scrap's going to go all the way to the checkers. It's Orbelin, Stuck and Said. John Young's got problems in pit lane. We'll update you on that after this.
Corvette is proud to stand on the podium for you to order now.
Welcome back to Infineon Raceway. This marvelous battle goes on between the 2 Audi R6 drivers. Post is holding off Galati. These magnificent twin-turbo V8 machines have not had the most enjoyable weekend here, and that solely comes down to weight cut. We'll talk about that more in a moment, but Farmer, Anderson, they're still chasing hard. Victor Contreras, Mike Culver, they're all in there.
And they're all getting a little bit angry because they want to, you know, they want a free racetrack. They figure if we can get by these Audis, we're going to get, you know, catch up to everyone in front of us. If there's a yellow, they're in good shape. And really, Randy's in a good position. Being the leader, you can defend. Galati's got a more difficult position because he's not only trying to get by, he's trying to keep Farmer behind him. So he's watching forward and behind him.
For folks at home might be saying, well, you're talking about the weight and these cars are so heavy, and well, the reason why they are so heavy is a twin turbo V8 versus the 6 in the normally aspirated engine of the BMW.
You know, one of the most difficult challenges the SCCA has is the equalization formulas. And you know, man, I tell you what, they do an awesome job when you consider how different all these cars are, the different specs that all the manufacturers are giving them, and the fact that everyone in racing is trying to get away with stuff.
Sure.
You know, they do an incredible job.
Yeah, how do you make an M3 competitive with an RS6, competitive with a Corvette Z06, with a, you know, blah,
with
blah,
an
blah.
old Porsche 928.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, the list goes on. And, you know, again, this is a great example. We see a great group of cars, great drivers here putting on a good show for us.
David Farmer must be loving this, at the same time hating it that he can't quite get by the Audis, but he is in a very strong position. He sits 8th, which is equal his best result this year. There's Mike Culver. Had a crash earlier this weekend. The car sustained some damage, but it's all running nicely now. He's right in there behind Victor Contreras, who's very much looking forward to the final round this year down there in San Juan, Puerto Rico. Meanwhile, Farmer has a look on the inside. Anderson goes wide, very wide. That may allow Victor Contreras to get up the inside. This is wonderful Speed GT racing here at Infineon Raceway.
You know, and we talk about the horsepower of the Audis, and you know, they're not getting through the corners as quick. And you get a good look at Farmer getting a run through turn 10 there, coming up on the Audi's bumper, but then the Audi with the horsepower pulls away, and it makes it so much more difficult to make that pass come off.
Post, Galati, unfamiliar territory for the RS6s. But as Johnny O'Connell mentioned at the top of the show, for our championship points leader Post, it's all about just gaining points, keeping up there, staying up there as the fight moves on to Road America for the next round, the big high horsepower fast circuit in Wisconsin.
You know, you go back to that last turn 11 incident where everyone got all shuffled out. One thing that showed a lot of maturity, Randy Popes, if you were watching him, he was away from the incident, but he opened up his line so that no one would take him out. You know, so, you know, we're getting to the point with this line, guys are getting frisky, and there's going to be contact going on.
Adding to this list of drivers, John Groom is in there. So too Thomas Oates. We're on lap 18, just a handful to go when we return. We continue with round 6 of the Speed GT Championship from Infineon Raceway here in California. Lee Diffie with Johnny O'Connell and Brian Till. You ride with Boris Said, who sits 3rd at the moment. As you can see, he's halved his starting position. Boris did finish 2nd at Lime Rock Park. That's his best result this year. And while we speak of Boris and the BMW gang, this is going to be very, very helpful to their quest for the manufacturer's title. You can see it. And BMW sit in the top 4 positions. No manufacturer has ever done that in Speed World Challenge history. If they stay there, it will be something else.
You know, Boris is in a nice position here. Hey, he's got Hans Stuck, one of the great sports car drivers all time, in front of him. But being behind, when you know what the length of the race is, you can tell what that guy's car is doing. And so he is seeing Hans getting a little bit loose, and if that opportunity, you know, strikes him, he's got a better idea as to what Hans's car is doing than Hans does what his car is doing.
Hello, Hans Stuck. It's Lee Diffie again. Can you hear me? It's a very difficult time, I think, to speak with Hans because he is under so much pressure.
Well, from Boris, and you know, again, there's so many things that are going on out there. He's pushing as hard as he can, you know, to do these lap times.
And look at this freight train. It is here and it's not going away. Randy Popes, Mike Galati, David Farmer, Mark Anderson, the list goes on, and Popes has been able to remain at the head of that group. He sits 6th at the moment. And points, valuable points, that's the key issue.
Well, and that's what Randy's thinking. He's looking at this whole thing, thinking about a championship, and we see Farmer, boy, getting attacked on both sides here.
And you just saw in the background, coming up is Tim Weems. He's recovered after that spin at the beginning of the race and forcing his way forward. It looks like Mike Fitzgerald is coming through as well. So the 3R Racing boys are on a surge. The highest placed driver in that team is, of course, 2 times race winner this season, Phil McClure, in the McClure Concrete and 3R Racing Corvette. He sits 5th after starting on the front row alongside Bill Alderman.
Now, and a lot of people might wonder, well, you know what's happening with Farmer? You know, he's right there. He's falling back a little bit. What we always have to remember is as this race goes on, these guys are burning fuel. And so if your car started out and it was good, as that fuel load goes down, your balance is going to change. And that might be what's happening with Farmer And either that, or he also might be taking a little bit of breather, try to get his tires back under him so he can take another shot at those Audis. To get there and to do that kind of battle, you work your car really, really hard. And so he might just be taking a breather, and we'll see in the next lap or two whether or not he's going to take a shot at these guys.
John Groom in the AXA Porsche fending off Tim Weens, and watch Mike Fitzgerald work his way through this traffic. This will be something else. We're looking at the two factory Audis at the moment, the RS6s. There's Mark Anderson, then Victor Contreras, and at the back of this line is Mike Fitzgerald. But for how much longer will he stay? He's already got past teammate Tim Weens, and it looked like Thomas Oates is the next one on his list.
You know, he spoke earlier about how Fitzgerald was going to be pretty, ticked off about the start that he got, and we saw him come through the field. I promise you, he's every bit as angry about that, little incident that he had in turn 10. So, obviously the fact that he's gained all this ground back says that he's still got a great race car, and he can still, certainly get into the top 5, top 10.
Bill Auberlen leads to the tune of 8 seconds over Hans Stuck, and there's just about half a second between second and third. Hans and Boris said the action will continue on the other side of this. Stick around.
I've been racing them all year, and I knew that they would be strong in the kinds of corners that make up Infineon Raceway. And sure enough, that's the case.
We'll probably struggle at Road America next week, but here we should have our way if we don't make mistakes.
Of all the tracks we go to, this should be the track the BMW fares the best at.
Even before the season started, I knew that Sears points the race that BMW is going to take care of business.
And right about now, they are taking care of business, that's for sure. They fill and continue to fill the top 4 positions. And the battle between Hans Stuck and Boris Said continues. Justin Marks, the 4th driver in the PTG team, sits 4th on track ahead of Phil McClure, Randy Popes, Mike Galati. Let's ride for a while. Johnny, this battle is not going away.
No, I tell you what, it is beautiful. And the surprising thing is that we're not seeing any more passes made. I mean, because when you've been in a group like this for so long, you get a rhythm for where a guy's strong, where a guy's weak, and then you're able to make some sort of counterattack. And, right now, it's pretty much instant replay, lap after lap. One of the interesting things, when we were riding along with Hans there, as we go up into the turn 2 area, there's probably a yellow flag out, because I saw a Viper off on the side there. And no, looks like it's clear. They got him out, got him away and going. But again, we were talking earlier, getting back to real quickly about Boris getting by Hans. Boris was in an advantage position. You see that Hans was going loose, and I'm sure he used that to his advantage.
Robert Dopp from San Jose, California, was the driver of the Viper who ran off. Here's David Farmer. Wonderful stuff from him. David sits 7th in the Speed GT Championship standings at the moment, and this is a real strong showing from him. And look at this.
Galati around the outside.
Randy's in trouble. Something's happened to Pope's car as he drops dramatically as they swoop around the outside. And that was Mike Fitzgerald flying by the looks of it. It could have been Tim Weens. And the day is done for Randy Popes. Now it's all up to Mike Galati. The pressure is all on him to hold these guys at bay. Dave Farmer on the inside. This is hot stuff. And Galati defends.
Again, Farmer saw his opportunity. Once that whole thing with Popes happened, again, all these guys now, they're freed up a little. So now we're going to see who's quick, who's not. And, bad luck for Randy. Michael, though, boy, it's about time, something good went his way. It's been a very challenging season for him so far.
Audi, Corvette, Porsche. Tremendous battle at the moment. David Farmer has been strong down this section of the circuit. Will he be able to put a move here on Michael Galati? No, he can't. And look, just 3 cars behind Galati as Mike Fitzgerald recovering after that high-speed spin.
And what Galati did there was really nice. He moved to the middle of the racetrack, kind of took away that overtaking line that Farmer might have. And then again, coming out of that corner, you can see he's taking advantage of that Audi horsepower and the way it gets out of the hole with 4-wheel drive. And so, Galati's got to be safe. What he's got to focus on is being quick in 2 areas. Out of the carousel, that's going to lead up to turn 7, a passing area, and then certainly through to turn 10. If he can do that, he's going to be in good shape.
And it's a
tire.
It's a tire. It's gone. What a shame for our points leader, Randy Popes, when he was in there in the thick of it, running 6th. Not where he wanted to be, but at least it was championship points. And this is very, very worrying stuff for Randy Popes. Brian.
It's a flat right front, guys, and we can't tell whether he's worn it out or whether he's hit something on the racetrack. But, you know, tires were a concern for these guys all along, and it looks like it caught up to him, whether it was debris or he just wore through them. We don't know. But a right front, and when you got to come in and change tires in this series, you're done.
You know, it's so interesting. You know, one of the handling characteristics that's very common at Finian Raceway is as you go through the carousel, the long downhill left-hander, man, you can get a ton of understeer, and the car's going to push there, you know, and I'm guessing he might have just worn that thing out.
Last lap, Bill Oberlin, 8.9 seconds, the lead margin. It's a comfortable, cruisy victory for the Californian. Meanwhile, second and third, it's Boris Said who put the move on Hans Stuck quite some time ago. He sits there. That will be his equal best result of the season. And Hans Stuck, we ride with him now, maintains third. Meanwhile, these guys are still going at it. Galati, Farmer, Fitzgerald has got past Victor Contreras. Now this is Mike's last roll of the dice. He's got 1 lap left to get 2 positions. He could get himself as high as 6th after that dramatic high-speed spin. He finally gets the white flag. 1 to go. What can Mike Fitzgerald do on this last stretch home?
And you know what? They're seeing that white flag, and man, the adrenaline's really going.
Brian.
Well, I'll give you a quick update on Michael Galati. I talked to the team. It was just a worn-out front. It wore off the inside on Randy Pope's car. They're concerned about Galati's, but he said maybe sitting behind Randy, he was able to conserve it a little bit. He's got 2+ miles to go around this racetrack. They're concerned about the right front.
Galati will be crossing everything he's got, hoping that this all-wheel drive Audi R6 gets home. He's got about 1.2 miles left to run. Meanwhile, Bill Oberlin is cruising to his 3rd victory of the season. He won the doubleheader in wet and trying conditions at Lime Rock Park. He's a Californian. He's in the sun in his home state, and he comes around to score his 3rd victory of the season. Oberlin does it.
You know, and has time to slow down and wave to the crew, man. Awesome job by Bill and everyone at PTG. You know, from Sebring to this point, man, the improvements that this team has made.
It's a Californian 1-2. Boris Said will get there. Mike Fitzgerald, though, he's doing everything he possibly can to get past David Farmer. They're coming up on some lap traffic. Michael Galati.
Oh, this is what Farmer needs, too, because he needs Galati to lose that momentum, and that Viper is going to give him the opportunity to maybe make a move going into 10.
Now they were able to get clear passage through. Good work. But watch the Porsche. Watch Mike Fitzgerald. This is his final opportunity to do something on David Farmer. Can he do it? That's where he left the track in spectacular style. Looks for the inside. Farmer defends. Good driving, David Farmer.
He did a beautiful job there, classic. He saw the move and knew where it was going to go. Okay, Galati is safe now. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not that Porsche can get out of the hole quicker than Farmer. He's got a run on him.
And Mike Galati gets his best result of the season. David Farmer does hold off Mike Fitzgerald. And that was an intriguing battle, whole race long. Great stuff. But we congratulate Team PTG BMW. They've created some history today. All 4 positions, the top 4 positions. They've created some Speed World Challenge history. We'll be back after this to wrap it up and hear from the winners. Speed Channel's coverage of the Speed GT Championship is brought to you by Toyo Tires, known for performance, tires that fit you. Time to take a look at our results from Infineon Raceway, round 6 of the SCCA Pro Racing Speed World Challenge, the GT Championship, and first-time winner here at Infineon as far as Speed World Challenge is concerned. Bill Oberlin, Boris Said, Hans Stuck, Justin Marks. It's a PTG BMW foursome, and Phil McClure finishes inside the top 5. We congratulate Victor Contreras, car number 69. He gets the Sunoco Hard Charger Award, and he was in the middle of a tremendous battle. Time to get it down to pit lane. Brian Till is with our race winner. It's his 3rd this season.
Lee, I'm standing down here surrounded by a lot of red, white, and black, and a lot of PTG, and what a performance you guys put on today. 3rd win of the season. It looks like maybe the championship lead, Bill.
Wouldn't that be nice? I mean, they named it Infineon. They should have named it BMW Raceway. When we come here, we know this is our place. And Team PTG, Tom Milner, all the guys, awesome job. What a team. Boris, Hans, Justin, couldn't do any better.
It looks like if you want to win it in Infineon, you better bring a BMW, Lee.
Yeah, they were strong. They were very strong today. Let's have a look. Brian mentioned the driver championship points. Let's have a look at it right now, because Bill Oberlin is the new points leader. He has stole that lead away from Randy Popes, who will be not all that pleased after today's run. He's now 9 behind. McClure still maintains his third. BMW is strong in the manufacturers after today. Final thoughts, Johnny, quickly.
Well, you know, another great drive by Bill, and everyone at PTG did an awesome job. Phil McClure, though, he's staying real strong. He's consistent, and that's what you're going to need to win a championship here.
Contrast in tracks. The next round, we go to Road America. It's the high-speed, flat-out circuit in Wisconsin. We look forward to that. On behalf of Brian Till, Johnny O'Connell, I'm Lee Diffie. Thanks for joining us at Infineon Raceway. We'll see you from Road America.